Hormone. A molecule that is secreted into the extracellular fluid, circulates in the blood or hemolymph, and communicates regulatory messages throughout the body. Endocrine system. Chemical signaling by hormones, one basic system of communication and regulation throughout the body. Hormones regulate reproduction, metabolism, growth, and behavior. Nervous system. A network of specialized cells, neurons, that transmit signals along dedicated pathways. A basic system of communication, regulate other cells, including cells that release hormones. Endocrine glands. Ductless organs that hold endocrine cells. Local regulators. Secreted molecules that act over short distances and reach their target cells solely by diffusion. Paracrine signaling. Target cells lie near the secreting cell in a type of signaling. Autocrine signaling. The secreted molecules act on the secreting cell itself. Neurotransmitters. Molecules that diffuse a very short distance to bind to receptors on target cells. They are central to sensation, memory, cognition, and movement. Neurohormones. A class are hormones that diffuse from nerve cell endings into the bloodstream to reach their target cells, e.g. ADH, vasopressin, which is critical to kidney function and water balance. Pheromones. Chemicals that are released into the external environment. Functions include marking trails leading to food, defining territories, warning of predators, and attracting potential mates. Signal transduction. The series of changes in cellular proteins that covers the extracellular chemical signal to a specific intracellular response. Epinephrine. A molecule secreted by the adrenal glands in response to stress. It binds to a G protein-coupled receptor in the plasma membrane. This triggers a cascade of events that involve synthesis of CAMP, which leads to activation of protein kinase A, leading to an enzyme that breaks down glycogen for glucose metabolism. Cytokines. Polypeptide local regulators that play a role in immune responses. Growth factors. Stimulate cell proliferation and differentiation. Nitric oxide. A gas that consists of nitrogen double bonded to oxygen. It serves as a neurotransmitter and a local regulator. It acts as a vasodilator. Prostaglandins. A group of local regulators that are modified fatty acids which serve to promote fever and inflammation and also intensify the sensation of pain in a sick person. Pancreas. Located behind the stomach, it holds bicarbonate that can raise the pH in the duodenum. Negative feedback. A loop in which response reduces the initial stimulus. Insulin. Triggers uptake of glucose from the blood, decreasing the blood glucose concentration. Glucagon. Promotes the release of glucose into the blood, increasing the blood glucose concentration. Inslets of Langerhans. Endocrine cells with alpha cells that make glucagon and beta cells that make insulin. Diabetes mellitus. Caused by a deficiency of insulin in target tissues. Ecdysone. Promotes each successive molt, as well as metamorphosis of the caterpillar into butterfly during the final molt. Juvenile hormone. A signaling molecule meant to maintain larval characteristics in the organism. Pituitary gland. Located at the base of the hypothalamus and is roughly the shape of a lima bean, composed of the posterior pituitary and the anterior pituitary. Posterior pituitary. Neurohypophysis, it stores and secretes two hormones made by the hypothalamus. Anterior pituitary. Adenohypophysis releases hormones central to endocrine signaling throughout the body. Oxytocin. One function is to regulate milk release during nursing. Positive feedback. Feedback reinforces a stimulus leading to an even greater response. An example is milk release, as well as contractions during pregnancy. Antidiuretic hormone. Also known as vasopressin, it helps regulate blood osmolarity. It regulates kidney function by increasing water retention in the kidneys, thus decreasing urine volume. Tropic hormone. A hormone that regulates the function of endocrine cells or glands. An example is TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. Follicle-stimulating hormone. Act as tropic hormones, it stimulates activities in the testes of males, also known as gonadotropins. Luteinizing hormone. Acts as a tropic hormone, it stimulates activities in the ovaries, also known as gonadotropins. Adrenocorticotropic hormone. Acts as a tropic hormone, stimulates the production and secretion of steroid hormones by the adrenal cortex. Prolactin. Has many diverse effects, stimulate mammary gland growth and milk synthesis in mammals, regulates fat metabolism and reproduction in birds, delays metamorphosis in amphibians, and regulates salt and water balance in freshwater fishes. Melanocyte-stimulating hormone regulates the activity of pigment-containing cells in the skin of some amphibians. In mammals it appears to act on neurons in the brain, inhibiting hunger. Growth hormone secreted by the anterior pituitary, it stimulates growth. Tropic and non-tropic effects. It targets the liver to release insulin-like growth factors, IGFs, which stimulate bone and cartilage growth. Thyroid gland consists of two lobes on the ventral surface of the trachea, secretes triiodothyronine T3 and thrioxine T4, commonly referred together as thyroid hormone. Triiodothyronine contains 3 iodines. Thrioxine contains 4 iodines. Parathyroid glands, a set of 4 small structures embedded in the posterior surface of the thyroid. It plays a major role in blood calcium regulation. When blood calcium levels fall, it will release parathyroid hormone. Parathyroid hormone. It raises the level of blood calcium by causing calcium in bones to decompose and be released in the blood, as well as stimulating the kidneys to reabsorb calcium. Adrenal glands associated with the kidneys, made up of the adrenal cortex and adrenal medulla. Norepinephrine, known as noradrenaline, considered as catecholamines. Catecholamines, a class of amine hormones synthesized from the amino acid tyrosine. Examples are epinephrine and norepinephrine. Corticosteroids. 2 main types in humans are glucocorticoids and mineralocorticoids. They are endocrine cells, released by ACTH. Glucocorticoids have a primary effect on glucose metabolism. It promotes glucose synthesis from non-carbohydrate sources, such as proteins, making more glucose available as fuel. Mineralocorticoids have a primary effect on mineral metabolism. It functions in ion and water homeostasis of the blood. Angiotensin II stimulates the secretion of aldosterone in response to low blood volume or pressure. Aldosterone then stimulates the kidneys to reabsorb sodium ions and water from filtrate, raising blood pressure and volume. Androgens secreted by the testes. Major androgen is testosterone. High levels result in low voice, male patterns of hair growth, as well as increases in muscle and bone mass. Testosterone. Steroid that results in muscle building, partially affects bone formation, and secondary sex characteristics. Estrogens. Subsection are the steroids estradiol. Estradiol. Responsible for the maintenance of the female reproductive system and the development of female secondary sex characteristics. Progestins. Include progesterone found in mammals. Progesterone. Primarily involved in preparing and maintaining tissues of the uterus required to support the growth and development of an embryo. Pineal gland. A small mass of tissue near the center of the mammalian brain. It synthesizes and secretes the hormone melatonin. Melatonin. A modified amino acid that regulates functions related to light and to seasons marked by changes in day length. The sleep hormone.